Hello, my name is Keshwani. It's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. I have been solving math problems out of this book here, the GMAT review, the official guide. If you do not have this book, and if you're thinking about sitting for GMAT, it is imperative that you get hold of this book immediately. You will find it at mba.com. The problem that I'm about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 170, problem solving 133. This problem basically tests to see if you understand how good of a grasp you have on the concept of exponents. That's all they're trying to see here. Let's see what it says. It says a certain country had a total expenditure of, and then they give you the expenditure in the exponent form, 1.2 times 10 raised to 12. Before I read the rest of the problem, let's first tackle this. How much is this amount? 1.2 times 10 raised to 12. Let's take a look at this thing. 1.2 times 10, as you are able to see right away, that is simply 12. And how did we get 12? By moving this decimal place by one place, because we're multiplying by 10. We're going to do the same thing here. We're going to move the decimal place 12 places. And by the time we do that, we end up with 11 zeros, because first zero, when we multiply by 10, the first 10, it just moves the decimal place to here to making it 12. So we have 12 and then 11 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So how much is this amount? Well, that's oh, I lost it. I made a mistake, didn't I? It's very important to pay attention. That's 1,000, a million, a billion, a trillion. Looks like 1.2 trillion. But that's not our concern. We're only interested in dividing this amount, this total expenditure that we have. This is the total expenditure. Let me read it one more time. It said a certain country had a total expenditure of this amount, 1.2 times 10 raised to 12, which we just found out it's a 1.2 trillion. And we are told that the population of the country was 240 million. Alright, 240 million. So that's 240 with 6 zeros. 240 million, excuse me. The question simply is, what was the per capita expenditure? What was the per capita expenditure? So this is your population. If you want to find the per capita expenditure, in other words, expenditure per person for this country, we simply take the total expenditure and divide by the population. That's what we're going to do here. So let's get going. It's very simple now. And of course everything has to be done by hand because the calculator is not allowed. You're not allowed to use the calculator, so you have to get used to doing this thing by hand. If the calculators were allowed, this question would be pointless. They wouldn't even ask this question because everybody's just going to punch it in the calculator to get the answer. The whole point is to see if you understand the concept of exponents and how conversant you are in manipulating them. The 3 zeros cancel out. These 3 zeros go. So basically we're dealing with this quantity right here, divided by 240. So I'm going to rewrite it so that you're able to see it. Let me rewrite it. So I have 1, 2, 0, 0, 3 more zeros, divided by 240. So let's do it. The very first thing I'm going to do is knock out one more zero, this zero right here. And then I hope that you're able to see that 240 times 10 is 240. If 240 times 10 is 240, then I hope that you're also able to see that half of that should be 120. And half of that is 24 times 5, which is what this is. I see 120 right here. This part right here is 120. So I'm going to knock it down with 24. That goes 5 times. And what I end up is, make sure you keep track of your zeros here. 1 0, 2 0, and 3 0. That's it. 1, 2, and 3. Looks like 5,000 is the answer. Looks like 5,000 is the answer. But if you don't want to go through this process, I'm going to show you another way. If you don't want to go through this process, just keep in mind that the amount that we're looking for on the top is this. I'm going to write right underneath it, line it up. 1, 2, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, which comes straight from here. This is the amount that we're looking for on the top. Here's the trick to it. The trick is this. You go through the answer choices. There are 5 answer choices. They're all numerical. They're all arranged in order. So why don't we take one answer choice and see if it works? I'm going to try C. Why C? Because it's right in the middle. It's a happy compromise. C says that the expenditure per person was $2,000, and we have 240 million people. The million part does not play any role here because the million cancels out. See this million, when we crossed out these 6 zeros, the million goes away. So basically we're left with 240 people. 240 people with a total expenditure of 1.2 million among 240 people. So I'm going to try C. C tells me 2,000. If I were to multiply it by 2,000, I end up with 48. This is the amount that I end up with. Not even 500,000. We're looking at 1.2 million on the top. You see, 1.2 million. This was answer choice C. That tells me that it is too small. I'm explaining this method only in the event that you don't want to go through this division part here. In which case you got as far as this one, you realize that on the top you're left with 1.2 million. When you divide this quantity by 240 million, the 6 zeros get backed out, you're left with, and then you divide this quantity here. Then you realize that you have to divide 1.2 million by 240, and if you didn't want to do that, this is what you would do. Because the millions have gone away. So now we're not dealing with 240 million people, we're just dealing with 240 people. So I started with C. It's too small. The C is too small. It's not even 500,000. I need 1.2 million. So instead of going through D, I'm going to try E. So we have 240 people, each with $5,000. We are assuming that the correct answer is 5,000. In which case we'll end up with 240. Let me multiply it by 5. 5 goes into 0 0 times. That's 20, 2, 10, and 12. And then of course we have 3 more zeros for the 5,000. Voila, you see? This 1.2 million is exactly what we're looking for. So one way you can figure out that the answer is 5,000 is by actually doing the division of 1.2 million by 240. If you want to do that, which is not that difficult actually. If you don't want to do that, just try the answer choices. Start with C and see if it works. If C does not work, you should be able to tell whether it's too small or too large. In this case, C was too large, which right away tells me that if C is wrong and so is B and so is A, answer has to be either D or E. The reason I did not try D is because this is way too small. There is no point in trying D. D is only 3,000. This is not even 500,000. We need to go 1.2 million. That tells me that it is more than double. Right there, right away, right there and there, right then and there, I knew that the answer would have to be 5,000 because we need to go more than double. So the answer is E. That's all. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you understand my explanation. Listen, if you wish to buy the DVDs of my solutions that I put together of all the math problems for GMAT, or if you wish to hire me for personal private tutoring, I'm located in Connecticut. In either case, go to my website at www.prep for gmat.com. Send me an email and we'll talk. Alright? Thank you.